Today in class we began modeling the order of operations, or PEPDAS. And just as a reminder, let's review that the P represents doing parentheses first, then we would do exponents, then we'd multiply and divide, and finally we would add and subtract. We used pictures today to represent expressions. So let's first take a look at this picture. Take a second and think about what this picture might be representing. If we look carefully, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 groups. So I'm going to show a 5 to represent our 5 groups. And in each of those groups, we have 2 red squares plus 4 orange squares. So writing the expression, we put the parentheses around the 2 and the 4 because those are showing each group. So in each group I have 2 plus 4, and I have 5 groups of those 2 plus 4. Some of you may have looked at this and said, well, I see that there are 5 groups of 2 squares plus there are 5 groups of 4 squares. And you may have come up with an equation such as 5 times 2 plus 5 times 4. Both of these expressions are exactly the same. The bottom expression is actually the distribution of the top. So the distributive property tells us that we would do 5 times 2 plus 5 times 4, which is exactly what we see below. We could also show that with a different type of picture, and maybe we have a picture that looks like this. So in this picture, we can see that there are 3 groups, and in each of those groups, there are 4 green circles plus 1 orange circle. Again, maybe you saw this differently, and you saw that there were 3 groups of 4 green circles, plus there were 3 groups of 1 orange circle. And again, the bottom expression is the distribution of the top. So if we use the distributive property, we can say that 3 times 4 plus we distribute and get 3 times 1. Oops, that should be a multiplication sign. What if we had a picture that looked like this? We have talked quite a bit about arrays in the past. So in 4th grade, hopefully you did. We also talked about them this week. So this rectangle here represents the array 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 times 6. Plus, we have these squares in addition to. So we have 5. Again, this 2 times 6 is representing this array, and plus the 5 additional. No matter which picture we use, we should be able to go back and solve both mathematically and using the picture. So if I were to solve 5 times 2 plus 4 and follow the order of operations, I would do 2 plus 4 first and get 6 times 5, which is a total of 30. If you were to count each of the individual squares, you should end up with 30. So again, we have 2, 4, 6 in each row, and there are 5 rows. So we have 30 squares. Your pictures must match the equation or the expression. So again, here I have 3 times 4 plus 1. And if I do 4 plus 1 first, that's me adding 4 green plus 1 orange to get 5. And there are 3 groups of that, so there should be a total of 15 circles. And if we count those up, we can see that there are, in fact, 15 circles. same thing with this problem. We would do the multiplication first to get 12 plus the 5 left over, leaving us a total of 17 squares. And if we counted each of those squares up, you would see that we did end up with 17. On tonight's homework, you do have to draw your own. So here are some examples that we can show. And I chose the same numbers, and all I did was add a set of parentheses so that we could see the difference between the two. So I need to show the problem 6 plus 2 times 3. There aren't any parentheses, so I would do this 2 times 3 first, meaning I needed to show an array that is 2 times 3, but then I also need to have six squares. So we have 2 times 3 plus the 6 squares. If we solve this, we get 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. If we add the squares up in our picture, we in fact have 12 squares. So we have solved it correctly. Looking at the bottom picture, we have the 6 plus 2 in parentheses times 3. So the difference in the top one is we were going to do the multiplication first, which is why we drew the array. But down here we need to do the addition first. So I need to show that there are 3 groups of 6 plus 2. And you can do that with your circles or your squares. I'm going to choose circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2. And you actually would want to go through and separate those somehow. I'm going to color them in. So in each group, so here's one group, I can see that there are 6 white circles and 2 blue circles. 6 white circles, 2 blue circles, 6 white, and 2 blue. So I'm showing you 3 groups of 6 plus 2. And if we were to solve that, 6 plus 2 is 8. Copy the rest, and 8 times 3 is 24. So we have 8, 16, 24. Hopefully this helps you with your homework tonight. Remember that on your homework you do not need to do the words section of it. We will complete that tomorrow in class.